up, Bills Mafia? We have 325 days to go, 272 days. We have 263 days. We have 240 days to go. We have 150. We have 97 days to go. We have 89 days to go. We have 86 days to go until the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl 57.
And now it is time for the only channel dedicated to counting down the days until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57.
I just don't know if they're going to make it. I'm done.
What is up, Bills Mafia? We have 77 days to go until the Buffalo Bills, our Buffalo Bills, win Super Bowl 57. This channel is going to document every single day leading up to that amazing moment with a video or live stream. Well, we've been enjoying football all day, but no Buffalo Bills football. Just watching the other games and how they're unfolding and what it might mean for our Buffalo Bills as we head into the playoffs. Couple games, of course, that we were keeping a close eye on. Number one, the Chiefs game, hoping that the Chiefs would lose to the Rams. And the Dolphins game, hoping that the Dolphins somehow, some way, would get upset by the Houston Texans. Yeah, that didn't happen. We didn't think it would. And so now the Dolphins are in first place in the AFC East once again. Oh, wow. What are you going to do? You're just going to forge on, soldier. That's what you're going to do. As a Buffalo Bills fan, you take what you can get, right? But that's not necessarily the case these days. These days, we are a little bit more optimistic and have a lot more bigger expectations for this team. Even so, with that said, we definitely have to keep our eyes on what's going around in the NFL, and that's why I thought I'd jump on for a little bit here. Right about halftime now at the Packers and Eagles game. If you're watching that, that's a good one. That's a lot of fun. A lot of action, a lot of turnovers, big plays. This thing is heating up to be one of the best games of the season. I'm so curious. Let's see what Vegas had it for the over-under for this game, because they are going to score, like, I think 80 points. It's 27-20 right now at halftime. The over-under in this game was only 46. So if you bet the over, you already got it. Wow. That's crazy. How come anytime I bet the over, the game chugs along with no points and I end up losing, and then the games I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna touch that one. The over is smashed in the first half. Not that I don't really bet a lot. I bet like $2, $5, whatever. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Vegas lines. We're not here to talk about over unders or my betting life. We are here to talk some Buffalo Bills football. And got Colleen, what is up? Hello again from Michigan. Good to see you. I see that you saw that I was popping up and you thought you'd stop in and say hello. Well, hello, Colleen. What'd you do on this Sunday since there was no football? Would love to know, so comment below. There were some really good games today. I think that the best game was in Jacksonville. I don't know if you saw this, but it really was probably the best game, certainly the best finish of the day. Trevor Lawrence looking like a number one draft pick. He played lights out, especially down the stretch. I didn't watch the whole game. In fact, I only watched the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game because their game was delayed and our local games was over, so they switched to that one. And I'm glad they did, because that was a really thrilling end. And that was a good result for the Bills, because the Ravens, as we'll see here in a second, not that we're looking over our shoulders at the Ravens, but anytime an AFC team that's in contention loses, better for us. And that's what happened. Now, of course, the Jaguars are in the AFC, so, you could say that, the Jaguars winning was a problem, but it definitely is not because the Jaguars are not in contention. So a good result there. The one game that everybody was watching for sure was the Kansas City Chiefs game. So we'll get to that one in a second. But before I do, I'd like to get to the other AFC East games. And number one, of a lot of intrigue, and a lot of Jets fans are pumped up right now because their Jets beat the Bears. Not so much that they beat the Bears. They were expecting to beat the Bears, and they did. They won 31-10, so they won handedly. The fact that their backup quarterback, Mike White, came in and had a stellar game in the rain gave Jets fans hope that perhaps, just perhaps, that this Cinderella season will continue. Colleen still watched football. Best feeling in the world, spending Thanksgiving with a house full of Lions fans. Really? Okay. Oh, that's right. Sure, because you're from Michigan. That's cool. Well, congratulations on the big win against the Lions with all your Lions fans. You got to tell me was there any like heated moments? Were there any moments in that experience with your family and the Lions fans where it just looked like it was gonna get out of control and that there was gonna have to be was somebody about to throw down? Would love to know that. But sure, I guess when you think about it too, that game was so intense. I got to imagine that there were some pretty close calls with family members in that game because, man, I mean, the Lions looked like they had it. They were outplaying the Bills on and off throughout the game. And the fact that we beat the Lions on that last drive, the throw to Stephon Diggs, that was outstanding. And then to crush the Lions' hopes. It's kind of a story of the Lions. They always get so close to pulling out a big win, and too often it slips away. And Lions fans are a lot like what us Bills fans used to be back in the day. So let me know how that went with you. I'm trying to get something connected here. Let's see if that connects. So that was one big game that we were all watching. And the other big game was the Dolphins. And the Dolphins pulled it out. They were expected to win, and they did. They took care of business against the lonely Texans. So no surprise there. That game, we were hoping for, of course, an upset, but didn't get it. Oh, I need to pop my ugly face back up here on the screen here. I think we're tired of looking at Mike White. All right, let me see if I got my chat working too. There we go. Got to drop my video down here. But anyway, yes. So the Dolphins win, the Jets win, and the Dolphins win and the Jets win and the Chiefs win. So not a great weekend of football for the Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs remain in the first seed. The Dolphins are in first place in the AFC East, but we are expecting there to be some changes here coming up in the very, very near future. All right, and we also got an update on Colleen's Thanksgiving Day meal. It was very heated. My in-laws hate me. All in fun, but they were annoyed. Live here, but oh yeah. So I know how that is when you're a fan of a team that's out of your area. It's frowned upon. It's not really, it's annoying. The be honest with you, Colleen. I have a family member, a cousin who is a Patriots fan. Never been to Boston, no interest in the Boston area. Other sports teams, nothing. He just adopted the Patriots as his team, and he probably did right when In fact, I know he adopted the Patriots as his team right when Tom Brady rolled in there into town and started winning all those Super Bowls. And suddenly he becomes a big Patriots fan. And just like with you, at sitting around the Thanksgiving table, we all just want to strangle the guy. So I don't understand quite how he became a Pats fan. But you say you're from West Seneca, so you're okay. You can stay with us. And even if you weren't, that's fine. You picked the Bills, so that's cool. All right, so the Jets win, the Dolphins win, the Chiefs win. The Chiefs, one thing about the Chiefs game is they didn't look dominant against a pretty poor Rams team. Not that the Rams ever threatened, but the Rams were rolling with like a third-string quarterback who I think played in the USFL, and he kind of hung in there. They never really threatened the Chiefs, but they played pretty good football. So the Chiefs really what they didn't really play that great of football. It was actually the Chiefs that kind of played poor football. So that was good to see. You took that out of the game. The Chiefs don't look dominant. I do believe the Chiefs are going to lose a game down the stretch of the season. And as I said before, as long as the Bills win out, we'll have the number 1 seed. After that Lions game and how close that was, that's kind of a tall order. We can maybe lose 1 game, but then, of course, the Chiefs have to lose 2. The Chiefs have some tough games coming up on their schedule. They've got division opponents, the Broncos, who, I'd rather the Broncos be better than they are. They've been actually horrible. But it is a division game. They got the Raiders. That is a division game. They have Seattle. Now, Seattle lost today, and I think they got thumped. Let me look at the score here. The Seattle Seahawks, they give up 40 to the Raiders. And that must have been a great game because that was 40-34 in overtime in Seattle. So, I don't know. When the Chiefs play Seattle, which Seattle team's going to show up? Let's look at the playoff picture real quick. And then I want to talk about like the big news, I think, of the day. And that has to do with someone that we're hoping will be playing for the Bills soon. Or do we hope? But the playoff picture real quick. Let's check it out. So there you go. The Chiefs, number 1 seed at 9-2. The Dolphins, virtue of a tiebreaker against the Bills, 8-3, second place, first place in the AFC East. Then it's the Titans and the Ravens. The Bills beat both of those teams, but because they are division leaders, they get the nod over Buffalo, and there's Buffalo in the. Man, that's just crazy that we're in the 5th seed at 8-3. Followed by the Bengals. The Bengals, they got a pretty big win today against the Titans. And there are the Jets, 7-4 in the 7th seed. So, again, Buffalo's going to likely have to win out to get that first seed back. And, I mean, we really want that so bad. I mean, that is just a ginormous thing we need. All right, I really want to fit this in here real quick, and that is the ongoing, now I call it a saga, with one Odell Beckham. What is the deal with the story that came out today? I think that most likely absolutely crushes our chances. And I'm not sure crushes is the right term for that. I think that takes Odell Beckham off the table for the Bills. I don't think that bringing a guy in that, I mean, the reports are, if you don't know, that he was on an airplane in Miami, and before the plane took off, they tried to wake him up. Couldn't wake him up. They thought it might be a medical emergency. So they had him get off of the plane, and that's that. And I think we all know what the deal is, right? Odell Beckham was hammered. The dude's on the plane hammered. He's so hammered, he's passed out in his seat, and they couldn't wake him up. The flight attendants, the pilot, I don't know. I think they even got medical crews on there. They couldn't wake him up. The dude, there's no official word, but I doubt he was really, really tired and it just was like sleeping through all of the commotion of trying to get him up. Odell Beckham was drunk on the plane. I am confident the Buffalo Bills are not going to bring in a player that already has a history, nothing like too egregious, but Odell Beckham has not been the most clean, upstanding NFL player since he joined the league. As you remember, when he first came in the league, he was a hothead, and then I think he was kind of like an all-me kind of guy. Goes to Cleveland, doesn't really fit in there. He goes to the Rams, does great with the Rams, no doubt about it. Did great with the Rams. Maybe he just has to be in a glitz and glamour city to play in. That could be it. You know, not that the New York Giants aren't a glitz and glamour city, but that's a different type of city overall when it comes to the things that go on there. It's a rough and tumble city. Whereas in LA, he could just be a superstar, not get a whole lot of criticism because LA, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, they don't really care about their football team. So he did all right there. But from the start of his career to last season, he's had his ups and downs. There was that video that surfaced of Odell Beckham apparently in a hotel room with some illegal substances, allegedly. And, yeah, he came out of that, and there was no more problem with that. But Odell Beckham now, with this latest incident of being apparently drunk out of his mind on a plane, unable to wake up, having to be taken off the plane. I'm sure it's going to come out that he was drunk. Could be worse. Could have been he was on something else. But that is definitely going to, I think, from the Bills' point of view, put a kibosh on the whole potential of bringing Odell Beckham onto this team. I think Dallas is all over it. Dallas will be thrilled to have Odell Beckham on their team as I'm watching the Eagles just run down the throat of the Packers. Sanders, man, he's having a gigantic game. So, yeah, the Odell Beckham lottery, I don't think we should buy our ticket. I think we should just step aside from that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills cancel the visit that he has scheduled in early December. And now, if it turns out the Bills do make an offer to Odell Beckham, and he somehow, someway does come to Buffalo, I'm going to be wondering. I'm going to be wondering if we're just getting desperate. Because not only is he got this now on his resume, getting so drunk he doesn't wake up on a plane, but, I mean, we don't know how he's going to come back from his knee injury. So whether or not Odell's going to be good enough to go, even when he comes back, is a big question mark. Yeah. All right, so to recap here, the Bills don't get a ton of help in Week 12. The Chiefs win. The Jets win. The Dolphins win. That's gigantic. The only team that lost that might have been any type of, help to us at all, if you want to call it help, is the Ravens losing a heartbreaker against the Jaguars. I don't know if you saw the end of that game. Dude goes for a 67-yard field goal attempt. Came about 2-3 yards short, so wasn't like it was really close, but it was quite an ending to that game. Right now, the Packers and the Eagles are going at it 27-20 Eagles. And oh yeah, like I said, this has been a good game. Good game. Lots of action. Lots of action. And then finally, on the Von Miller front, I guess he's just going to wait it out a few more days and then decide how, get it reevaluated, and they're going to decide whether or not that injury is severe enough to require him to have season-ending surgery, which is an absolute deflator. Absolute deflator. He's the one guy that we were looking to make a difference down the stretch. And if you remember when we got him, it was like that was the one thing. That's the one thing that we feared, that somehow, some way, his season would come to an end with something like this, if that is the case. And if you watch the replay of his injury, it's just like, he barely steps on the ground. He barely gets bumped. And that doggone knee just like that. Real bummer. So, all right. So that is a quick recap of the Bills' opponents, how they did in Week 12. A take on the Odell Beckham Jr. situation, if you want to call it a situation. And now it's off to New England. Where it's not going to be an easy win. It is not. We are not rolling up there and waltzing out of there with a W. I think that one's going to be about as tough as any one that we've had this season. So, and then after that, it's the Jets and the Dolphins at home. If we beat New England, then it's go time. The only tough game on the schedule after New England, in my opinion, is the Bengals game in Cincinnati on Monday Night Football. That one will be tough. All right, that's a quick look at what's going on. Got my video in for the day. Remember, we have 77 days until the Buffalo Bills win Super Bowl 57. See you later.